The first time we saw the tree, neither Ethan nor I thought anything of it. It was enormous, far larger than any pine surrounding it. Its trunk was twisted into unnatural spirals, as if dozens of trees had grown together over hundreds of years. One side of its bark had been split open by lightning decades ago, leaving a long scar that looked eerily like a screaming face. Someone had carved a single word into the trunk. Leave. I assumed it was another warning left by a frightened hiker. By then, we'd seen plenty of those. We walked past it without saying a word. I wish we hadn't. After escaping the shortcut that led us deeper into Marker 13, Ethan and I kept moving east, or at least we thought it was east. The compass spun so often that directions had become meaningless. Still we walked, one foot after another. Anything was better than standing still. About 40 minutes later, Ethan suddenly stopped. "Ryan?" His voice sounded uneasy. "What?" He slowly pointed ahead. My stomach tightened. There it was. The same giant tree, the same lightning scar, the same carved word. Leave. I looked behind us. There was no way we'd walked in a circle. The ground was different, the rocks were different, even the trees surrounding it were different. Yet the tree itself stood exactly the same, almost as if the forest had moved around it. "Maybe there are two trees," I whispered. Ethan didn't answer. He walked to the trunk and placed his hand against the carving. Fresh sap oozed from the letters. The bark felt warm, warmer than it should have. It's the same one. Neither of us wanted to admit what that meant. So we walked again. This time, we chose a completely different direction. We crossed a shallow creek, climbed a steep hill, crawled beneath fallen logs. For nearly 2 hours, we never once looked back. Eventually, the forest opened into another clearing. Relief washed over me, until I saw the tree, standing alone in the center, waiting. I felt my knees weaken. "This isn't possible." Ethan looked ready to panic. "It doesn't want us to leave." The wind suddenly picked up. Leaves swirled around the massive trunk. For just a second, I thought I saw movement inside the bark. Not behind it. Inside it. As though faces were trapped beneath the wood. Silent mouths opening and closing. Begging. I blinked. The faces disappeared. "Did you see that?" I asked. Ethan nodded without taking his eyes off the tree. "I've been seeing them since Marker 12. We backed away. Neither of us wanted to touch the trunk again. As we turned to leave, I noticed something hanging from one of the lower branches. A compass. Old. Rusted. Still swinging gently despite the still air. I picked it up. The needle didn't spin. Instead, it pointed directly at the tree, no matter how I turned it. I threw it into the bushes. We walked until sunset, or what passed for sunset inside those woods. The sky turned gray. Not orange, not red. Just gray, like the color had drained out of the world. That night, we made camp beside a stream. Neither of us slept. Every few minutes, I glanced into the darkness, half expecting to see the tree standing just beyond the firelight. Around 3 a.m., I heard a familiar sound. Wood cracking. Slow, heavy, like an old tree bending. The noise came closer, 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 until it stopped just outside the circle of light. I raised my flashlight. Nothing. Only darkness. Then I noticed the smell. Fresh pine. Strong. Overwhelming. Far stronger than the surrounding forest. Morning couldn't come fast enough. As soon as daylight arrived, we packed our things and continued walking. After only 20 minutes, Ethan suddenly froze. I already knew why. The tree. Again. This time something had changed. Another word had been carved beneath the first. Leave now. The carving looked fresh. Sap still dripped from the letters. My chest tightened. Someone else is here. Ethan slowly shook his head. I don't think people made these. For the first time, I noticed deep claw marks running across the trunk. Not bare scratches. These were enormous, long enough to span nearly 6 feet. Something huge had climbed this tree. Then I saw photographs, dozens of them, pinned to the bark with rusty nails. Old family pictures, school portraits, wedding photos, camping selfies, all faded, all weathered. Each showed smiling people. Every face had been scratched out, except one, mine. I staggered backward. My photograph looked recent. Too recent. I had never taken it. Yet there I was, standing beside the very same tree, smiling, as though I'd been there before. My heart pounded. I've never been here. Ethan stared at the picture. His face lost all color. Then he quietly said, "I think you have." Before I could respond, the forest erupted with whispers. Hundreds of voices, soft, barely audible, repeating the same sentence, "Come back." Again, again, again. The tree began creaking, not because of wind, because it was moving. Its branches slowly lowered toward us, like enormous arms. "Run!" Ethan shouted. We sprinted. Branches whipped across our faces. Roots reached from the ground. The whispers followed, growing louder, faster, closer. After nearly an hour of running, we collapsed beside an abandoned watchtower. The wooden structure leaned dangerously. Its stairs had partially collapsed. Still, it offered a better view. Maybe we could finally understand the forest. We climbed to the top. From there, I expected endless trees. Instead, I saw hundreds of identical giant trees scattered across the landscape, each impossible, each towering over the forest, each bearing the same lightning scar, the same twisted trunk, the same shape. "No," I whispered. Ethan stared silently, then pointed farther away, beyond the trees, beyond the hills, toward something enormous. A forest, inside the forest, an area so dark it looked almost black. None of the sunlight reached it. It seemed to absorb light itself. At its center stood one tree, far larger than all the others, impossible in size. Its branches stretched across the sky. Its roots disappeared beneath the mountains. Every identical tree we'd seen faced toward it, like followers worshipping a king. A deep rumbling echoed through the valley. The giant tree moved, not swayed, moved. Its branches slowly twisted. The ground vibrated beneath our feet. Birds exploded into the sky. The air itself seemed to tremble. Then, every identical tree turned, slowly, deliberately, toward us. I stumbled backward. Trees can't move. Ethan never answered. He was staring at the horizon. Tears filled his eyes. "Ryan, what?" He pointed toward the enormous central tree. Something stood beneath it, a human silhouette, watching us. Even from miles away, I could feel it looking directly at me. Then my phone vibrated. The battery had been dead for days, yet the screen lit up. A single photograph appeared. No sender, no signal, no explanation. The picture showed Ethan and me, standing beside the giant tree, smiling, as though we'd posed for the camera. Across the bottom of the image was today's date. But that wasn't what terrified me. What terrified me was the timestamp. 7 years from now. My hands shook so badly I nearly dropped the phone. Before either of us could speak, the screen changed one final time. 4 simple words appeared. "You always come back." The phone went black. Far below us, every identical tree in the valley began creaking at once. The sound echoed like thousands of people whispering together, and somewhere inside that impossible forest, something answered. To be continued.